The last sort of big question I had, and I was wondering if you could talk about, is this idea of forgiveness. And I think in our society, it's something that we don't do very well, right? We all kind of hold on to these grudges. And I think it goes both ways with the work you're doing. There's the folks who are actually the quote unquote offenders who maybe have work to do in terms of forgiving some of the abuse that's happened in their life. But there's also the other side of that coin where there's the victims of these crimes. And it feels like the thing that joins both of those folks, besides trauma and pain, is also the need to forgive. And do you find that is a concept that you guys talk about in your work? Is that a concept that's important for this work? And because I think it also ties back into that idea you were talking about for the larger country and our society about how do we move forward? And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about forgiveness.
Well, as you know, we do what we call self-reflection letters, harm letters in our class, where basically it's an apology letter, sharing what you did wrong, how you hurt them, emotionally, physically, financially, long-term, short-term, actually recognizing that harm, and then I like to make restitution, or I like to offer something to repair that damage that I caused you. The offer. I try to stay away from asking for forgiveness or the forgiveness piece. It naturally comes, Dave. It naturally comes. So when you validate the harm that you caused and then make yourself available, I am willing to pay the restitution, or I know that I caused this pain. The part about being validated generally produces that, you know what? I appreciate you validating my pain and what I'm going through. And it happens naturally. And then some people say, well, Jim, I'm doing my letter of harm, my apology letter. How come you don't want me to ever use the word ask for forgiveness? I said, that is given. You don't ask for it. When you start asking for it, you're putting conditions on your letter. Here, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I hurt you this way, but you know what? Please forgive me.
It's almost like making the person who's been victimized give you something. Yeah. Got it. So maybe forgiveness isn't the right term.
No, and it's not. It's basically, Dave, when you share and give that of yourself, of knowing what you did wrong to them and letting them know that, you hit the nail on the head, and they automatically need that validation so they can move on their road of recovery, so they can heal. Only they know that, Dave. They know the time frame for that. Some people in our classes that we show some heavy hitting videos of an individual from a homicide, and it was 15 years before they did a victim offender mediation. And at the end of the process, that restorative justice program, they hugged. And this one lady, after he got out of prison, they lived next door to each other, and they go around and they talk about forgiveness and how the healing occurred and how they both are flourishing now. So she didn't forget it, but she needed to know some information that was missing, that was stopping her from going on her road of recovery. And at first she said she had so much hate, so much hate. It was like cancer. It was eating her from the inside out.
And that's the victim of a family member of a victim of homicide.
The mother of her son was shot of a homicide. And they developed a relationship, but it was on her call. It was on her wishes. It was on her timeline. So the forgiveness word, and then a lot of people in my class get offended by it. Well, how can she? I could never, ever let that go and forgive him for this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, that's you. But for her, that's totally fine. You can't judge her or try to assume how she's feel or what she needs for her own recovery.
Yeah.
It's on her call or his call, whatever. So that part, that's not a hard one, Dave, but we encourage individuals and victims to express their emotions, express their pain as defined by them, and let it and let it stand as its own. I don't know if I can explain it any other way, Dave. It's just you need to allow victims to express their feelings as defined by them and their needs as defined by them. And then that's what you address. You don't want to go out and do any, vigilantism or anything destructive,
right?
Or if you don't want the victim to hurt the offender either. So there's that. It's a safe place, though. It's about healing, not about causing more pain or more harm.
That sounds like maybe that's the better word then. It's really not about forgiveness. It's about the overall process of healing and both parties being able to heal and move forward in hopefully a healthy way.
And that's what happens, Dave. That's what happens in our program. In many ways, we just want to, through my agency, we want to give victims a voice, and we want to provide them resources as defined by them. And we wanted to create a place for justice-involved individuals to learn and make themselves available. So if and when their victim do want to do possibly victim offender mediation or circles or any other type of restorative justice program, they know how to do it without causing more harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And validating the victim, validating the community. If you sold drugs in the community, validating all that poison that you're aiding and abetting in the community. Because a lot of times, Dave, as you know, a lot of offenders that's drug related, I don't have any victims. Yeah. These people came to me for
victimless crime, et cetera, et cetera.
They're the ones who have the biggest aha moment because they see the ripple, what we call the ripple effect or the domino effect. Because of their selling or using in a community, they're contributing to all some of the gang violence, some of the abuse that there was one case in York. The lady, she prostituted her 7 and her 12-year-old so she can buy drugs, and the horrific with fentanyl now, Dave. Individuals is being mixed with all other type of drugs, cocaine, heroin, meth is mixing, and people are dying left and right because of they overdosing off of that fentanyl crap. Yeah. And because they are trying to, because individuals are making money, bringing drugs in this country, whichever ways, the ripple effect of grandmoms and granddads that are supposed to be in their retirement years, they are taking care of their kids. They're the primary caregivers. Their parents are gone. Their parents are in prison. All the sexual abuse that's happening with on and on and on. Well, Jim, you can't put that on me. That drive-by shooting that was over that drug, somebody kicked in a drug house and they shot up the place and the lady died. You can't put that on me. I said, well, all those drugs, they brought those drugs in here so you can get your hit. Yeah. So you can't tell me you're not related to that at all, because you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing's in isolation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just even if it's in a small way.
Yep.
So that point, Dave, about healing as a community and our social justice issues as presently, we need to, as a society, hopefully we'll get there and we'll validate those harms and habilitate these individuals that desperately need to be validated and helped. I think we can go a long way doing it if we just apply the simple principles and values of restorative justice.
There you go. I love it. Well, all right. I got a couple rapid fire questions for you. Just the first thing that comes out to your head. So what musical artist, at the end of the day, you had a tough day doing restorative justice, who do you put on first?
Musical artist. Simple. Dave Luther Vandross. He's his soulful voice, and the Winans. They're a gospel group. The Winans.
Good answer. What would you be doing if you weren't running a nonprofit?
Working. Believe it or not, Dave, working in corrections.
On the other side of the wall there? Yeah.
It's not. And it's kind of funny, Dave, because, right now I did so I walk in, I got checked. I went through training like a correctional officer years ago. So when I go to a prison, any prison in Nebraska, I got my little, I can go get a radio and I go get keys. And I walk anywhere in the prison.
That's interesting.
And people inside say, Jim, if you can make it. I remember when you was in those trap houses smoking crack. I remember you. I know how bad you were. If you can make it, I can make it.
That's awesome. All right. If you could get an endorsement from any celebrity, any politician, anybody out there in the world, and they can endorse your program, who would you want that to come from?
Well, we have to go with, I would love Bill Gates. Wow. Well, he's not a celebrity.
Yeah, he works though. I mean, he's a public figure. So Bill Gates would be your guy? Because
what he's done with the world health issues around the world, I know he has financial, but the way he's effective at it, if he was to endorse us, oh man, yeah, he would give us the credibility that we additional credibility that could help us expand to help more people across the country.
Hopefully it'd open up that wallet too. So let's say COVID's over tomorrow. Pandemic's done. Where's the first place you're traveling?
DC, to see my sister and my, because I lost first cousin to COVID. I lost an aunt to COVID. I would see family because it's too short, Dave. Life is too short. And I see that number on news channels of the 250. We went over 250,000, I think, today.
It's been a bad year.
Too many.
Yeah. Sorry about your loss. I did not know that.
I hope you enjoyed the short segments from a recent interview I did with a good friend and colleague, Dave Nadelman. To view the rest of the interview and to learn more about the Community Justice Center, check out our social media pages and visit us at communityjusticecenter.org.